Well, hi, welcome back, everyone. I'm just uploading videos anymore. It's something to do. I really wanted to do the mohawk before I get so old that I start losing my hair. I am getting old, middle-aged. So, I could have made this about tripping on LSD. My husband and I, we tripped on LSD for the first time. Well, it was his first time together, not the first time for me tripping. It could have been a fun story, but I guess, it was tripping. I think it was very, very. I really wanted my husband to do it. I think I was thinking it would be very beneficial for him psychiatrically. And I think it was, as hallucinogens tend to be very psychiatrically healing things. I wish I could play some music. The only, I think, album I have left that doesn't have any kind of, I have my songs that I've made, but I don't want to use the no copyright sounds. It's all like, EDM, not EBM, which is dark wave. It's all EDM. It's too poppy. And things have changed now too. You have to name the song and link it in the description and whatnot. But some of the goth albums I had, some of the goth punk stuff I had not really been claimed by a record label. And then this record label called Cherry Red Records, I think, or Orchard Records, something like that. They went around and started snatching up all these really obscure, almost unheard of goth punk albums that had been released, and now they're, you can't, they'll copyright it. I do have an album that has no copyrights on it. It's from some local band called Beatific Smile. They produced a hippie version and a punk version. A friend of my ex, my first boyfriend, she had the punk version and I have the hippie version. And I begged and pleaded with her that if I made a copy of the hippie version to give to her, would she make a copy of the punk version and give it to me? That never transpired. Bummed out about that. This is not easy to find. But yeah, so I guess that is what it is. Greedy fucking record labels. Like I said, there were some goth songs, some goth titles that I had that weren't copyright for real. And then, like I said, this record label just kind of went in and snatched them up, and it was like, oh, that sucks. Anyway. Boom. So I'm going to talk about this, that I responded to this, got quite a lot of traction So I guess this was in controversial thoughts. How is the LGBT movement supposed to achieve equality if they put themselves in a separate community that is from the rest of society? So this is what this person posted. I find it to be a disgusting remark. They say that it's not interested in equality. It was initially back in the 70s. Huh? It was interested in equality even today. I'm not sure what they refer to. They probably don't even know what they're talking about. But now it has equality. But now it has equality. It's been taken over by narcissists, mental cases, and attention seekers who want special treatment to be applauded for being alive and to have every whim, no matter how outrageous or deviant, to be indulged immediately. Failure to meet these ridiculous demands is considered evidence of genocidal oppression. The LGBT movement has gone from rock-hard queers getting the shit kicked out of them by police, but still turning up to the disco a few hours later, marching for the right to disappear in public, to a bunch of mewling, whining crybabies with mental problems telling us that the world revolves around them, that they should never have to read, see, or hear anything they don't like, and that we are bigots if we disagree. So I'm not sure that's quite how that goes. So I got this all out of order. Try to find. And then okay, so this is the picture that came after that. There's a lot of non-binary people. And this person says, please note it's only the trans element of the acronym demanding language, social mores, and society to be reordered. LGB just wanted to not suffer discrimination. We didn't demand access to women's spaces or to be allowed to send drag queens into school. Trans rights demands have set gay acceptance back decades. Somebody says, I hate talking about groups. My only thinking deals with individuals. For every trans that behaves as you correctly described, I guess I didn't follow up with that. The problem is I don't know, whatever. LGB just wanted to exist with persecution. We wanted to exist with persecution. I don't think so. The rest of the initials seem to be about performance art, and regular homosexuals are getting tarred by their antics. Regular homosexuals, huh? That exactly. So here's more. I support the LGB, not the degeneracy of queer. LGB falls under queer or trans. It's a sort of new religion. Well, no, it's not. There's no particular ideology you have to follow to be trans or gender non-conforming or queer. So no, it is not a new religion, a degrading one. The religion of the devil. So this is proselytizing. Stupid homophobic Nazist. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I gotta find where I fucking started with this whole thing. So this is my response. I thought it was a pretty good one, but LGBTQ AI plus people are still trying to be part of society. Did it occur to anyone here that there's people in society that do not want us LGBTQ plus people part of it? There's so many double standards. It's like if you are an LGBTQ person, you are held to a higher standard than straight cis people. If you want to know where the word cis comes from, it comes from chemistry. Cis literally means the opposite of transition. In chemistry, this term is used in contrast to transition metals, which are cis metals. For example, if a cishet woman walks down the street, scantily clad, quote unquote, some might care, but most don't. If a trans woman walks down the street, scantily clad, it makes the news as being this issue of sexualizing children, provocative, inappropriate, and turns into a bigger deal than it should be. Cis-het men walk down in public areas in Speedos, which, as a gay man, let me tell you, that leads very little to the imagination. I'm just saying, straight or gay, if you're a male and you are one of those, I can see everything. And believe me, you really can. For some reason, if someone who's gay or queer does this, again, it's on the front page of magazines and makes it out like it's this crazy radical thing. Like it never occurred to anyone. They were just trying to go to the beach and trying to mind their own business and had no idea they'd end up with all this negative media coverage, facing tons of accusations they never meant to even imply. I wonder something. I wish I had this in better order. Well, it may not be in order. I don't care anymore. There's the whole trans bathroom issue. You see a trans person that isn't so well, quote unquote, passing, go into the bathroom of the gender they identify as. Then there's a news article about that, where it's just automatically assumed they're all like that one person that did it that one time to be creepy and weird, be a predator. It's gone to the extent where these trans people have had their lives threatened and even beaten up. All they really wanted to do was use the bathroom. Then, when you have a passing trans people that follow the rules and use the bathroom of their biological sex, but they're passing and actually really look like the opposite gender, this has led people to really bad outcomes when they see a trans guy that looks like Buck Angel going into the women's room, and then you have all these biological women freaking out that a man is invading their space, not realizing they are a biological female and just following the laws. That leads to people being beaten, harassed, and even arrested. In some case, And the same case for trans women who are passing and use the men's room. There's been instances of them being sexually harassed and assaulted. And when I say assaulted, I mean both types. People need to be able to use the damn bathroom regardless of how you feel about their lifestyle. I find it to be strange because no one tells me as a gay man to use the women's room. No one has told me I'm a creeper for using the men's room. For all you know, I've been in a public men's room, or you've been in a public men's room with me, a gay man who is a man that is attracted to other men and didn't even know. I've never invaded anyone's privacy, no matter how attractive the guy is, because I'm not a creep. Actually, it's usually the other way around. You straight people always want to take the urinal right next to the one I'm using, and it makes me uncomfortable. This is a true story. Especially when you straight guys try to strike up a conversation with me. That actually has happened many, many times, which makes it really hard to finish. I usually try to avoid this by always getting a stall to have peace and quiet. Sometimes you straight guys do some really homoerotic things in men's locker rooms and bathrooms that make me, a gay man, really uncomfortable. Just because I'm gay doesn't mean the answer is automatically, yes, show me your stuff. It's like because you assume everyone is straight, you therefore assume that a guy you don't know is gay has the same perspectives as you straight guys do in your nudity around other guys. I know you guys don't think anything of it because you're straight, and to you, male genitals are probably the equivalent of my female friends letting me touch their breasts, with permission, of course, to make straight guys jealous. To me, they're just boobs, and I couldn't care less. I'm not interested in them or fascinated by them in any way. It's like, yeah, it's a boob, big deal. I think in public locker rooms and restrooms, you straight guys think the same way about male genitals, where I don't. That's extremely sexual to me, and it makes me uncomfortable. On the boobs thing, like, I haven't really done that since I was young, like late teens, early 20s. I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying I have to deal with sharing public bathrooms and locker rooms with straight guys. I realize some of the things you do to goof off may just be whatever to you. I accommodate myself by using a stall or using that single person bathroom most public places have now when it's available. I don't complain about you straight people doing things you do. I do wonder if your wives know how you do that type of stuff and what they may think of it. I'm not demanding that there should be entirely separate bathrooms just for gay people because I support equality. I just deal with it. It's almost really like these homophobic, transphobic, anti-genderqueer, non-gender conforming people. It's almost like you guys are advocating for entirely separate bathrooms for these people. It's like they just want to go to the fucking bathroom. Yeah, but anyway. And they're just trying to use the bathroom of the gender they identify with. And if they use the gender, or if they use the bathroom that identifies with their biological sex, they still get in trouble, especially when they're passing. Because you can't tell the difference until you see their goddamn genitals. That's just the kind of part of living in a free society with many different individuals in it. Sometimes you have to learn to tolerate and accept that other people are different than you. We have massive infrastructure in this country, the U.S., with many very large cities that contain many people with many individual perspective, personalities, cultures, lifestyle perspectives, and so on. Not every straight guy does those things in public restrooms or locker rooms. Some may even be in the closet or bisexual or have insecurities as their reasons for doing that. Most of the time, though, I'm pretty sure you all are just straight guys that don't think about it as being something homoerotic because you're heterosexual. I always assume everyone else in these public spaces are straight because it's the polite and decent thing to do. And I'm not in there to try and meet my next boyfriend. I'm in there to go to the bathroom in privacy. And it's really awkward when some straight dude is in there walking around naked, peeking over the stall, which has happened, to ask for a cigarette or toilet paper. Or those guys that feel the need to fully undo their pants and do full exposure just to pee in a urinal. What the fuck is up with that anyway? Like, I don't understand that. Just unzip your fucking pants and whip it out and pee. You don't have to undo your entire pants. Or the ones that, for some reason, think I want to have a conversation with another guy while we are urinating or pooping. That is a complete stranger to me while we are both exposed because we are in a bathroom, most of which is not erotic. I'm not going to kink shame anyone, but I'm not into that stuff. There are times, though, where I've seen straight guys with their stuff hanging or goofing off with a friend that went in there with them that is homoerotic. It's the nature of using a public bathroom or locker room. I've always found them to be very uncomfortable, awkward places because you have no idea how some of these people were brought up. It seems a lot of military folk are really bad about this because they are so used to sharing these types of places with their buddies. I try to avoid public bathrooms personally. Sometimes that's not an option. I have not been in a public locker room since I was in high school. When I did use the public locker room, I never used the showers and tried to stay to myself as much as possible. Some of the jocks in there made it very difficult because despite being nude, or mostly nude, they would still come up and try to talk to me about things I personally don't even care about. I would try to and be as polite as possible by pretending I cared that I was interested, pretending like I wasn't feeling awkward or uncomfortable. I also had to try and keep my eyes up and not wonder which, when I was a teenager raging with hormones and the guy was really attractive, that was a very hard thing to do. I just didn't want to make anyone uncomfortable, and I wanted to be respectful. Maybe you, the one reading this, aren't one of those guys that do any of that stuff, but maybe you are. I'm only bringing it up to invert the perspective here, because even if you aren't one of those guys that goof off, but especially if you are, I want you to think about that. You have at one point shared the bathroom with a gay or bisexual man, possibly even a trans man, and not even knowing it. Maybe we shouldn't be getting mad about things that could happen, but haven't happened yet, and be cool until something actually happens you should be concerned about. No, the LGBTQ plus community is not a cult. We are not some strange group of collectivists. We are not we are individuals with different personalities, perspectives, cultures, lifestyles, and so on. I don't know what LGBTQIA plus people you've ran into and talked with to think we don't want equality, we want our own special little places. But whoever they are, they do not and cannot possibly speak for the entire LGBTQIA plus community. We are asking for equality, but you don't have, but you don't have equality when it's basically illegal to use the bathroom based off the idea they will do something they haven't even done yet and most likely never will. That's called a negative stereotype or a gross overgeneralization. Really, the post of this and the comments said, the post of this and the comments said it all, answered the question itself the moment ill comments are made about trans and queer people. They are assuming equality when they go into the bathroom. Then they realize there's no equality when they are greeted with violence, harassment, sexual assault, and even in some cases arrests, just because they are different than you. The ill comments towards trans and queer people are a prime example of the lack of equality within the very text of asking why the LGBTQ plus community, according to you all, don't want equality, but something else. No, I think they do want equality. And part of that means if you don't think they should be isolating into their own little groups and personalized bathrooms, then maybe stop isolating them from your spaces by threatening them with violence and harassment, and then they won't do that. Just a thought. Maybe you should consider that. Maybe these LGBTQIA plus people would be more willing to share public spaces of people like you all here. If you all here didn't say things like, well, except for those T people or except for those queer people, that's where they all went wrong, end quote. Because I gotta tell you, it's pretty unwelcoming, very pro-isolation when I can hear the contempt through the text and have a pretty good idea how that's being said. You are isolating them away from you all. They are not welcome in any public space you inhabit because you have an issue with these people. Where exactly are they supposed to go? What do you want them to do? Be normal? Be exactly like you? That's not equality. That's called conformity and uniformity. That's saying you don't get the same things we do and you can't share the spaces we do unless you are not trans, unless you are not queer. You might as well be saying you don't get rights unless you are white, heterosexual, cis, meaning non-trans, and only dress how we tell you to. They're saying no because that's not equality, which is what we want. Again, to the bathroom example, nobody is going into a public bathroom to discuss your insecurities and hang-ups with LGBTQIA plus people. When you do that, what do you want them to do? What would be the resolve where they can live their best life without being harassed because you don't like them in any way? That is equality and not special treatment or a cult, as you put it. How about stop worrying about what other people are doing with their lives and mind your own damn business? Also, we really don't have equality, not even for the homosexuals and bisexuals. I'm serious. We are held to a much higher standard. There's a book with two versions. One's called My Two Moms and Me. The other is called My Two Dads and Me. It's a story about a little girl. In one version has two dads and talks about eating breakfast, going to the park, going to the zoo, eating ice cream, watching Netflix as a family while eating dinner. And at the end, her two dads or two moms read her a bedtime story and tuck her in. This book has been called gay porn, indoctrination, sexualizing children, and all kinds of crazy stuff. There's absolutely nothing sexual about it at all. Anyone saying that is projecting their own issues into other people. If that book was My Mom, Dad, and Me, no one would say anything. There are children with two dads or with two moms. Why is anyone bringing up sex when it comes to this book? When we read books to children where they have a mom and a dad, we don't say that's sexual. Why is it that when it comes to gay relationships, all the adults in the room, their brains go straight to gay sex, especially when it's two men? That's where your minds always go to when it's two men. Immediately, butt sex. Your mind's in the fucking gutter. Okay? Do you think that's all we do? I've heard as much as far as this negative stereotype that us gay people make our sexuality, really meaning how we have sex, our entire identity. Like the idea that of me putting things in my butt is my entire fucking identity. Like I just like to put dildos in my butt all the time. That's my identity, is things going in my butt. Or me putting things in another guy's butt or something. That is not my identity. I'm a goth punk. I'm a dark artist. I am many things, but what defines me is not butt sex. That is so frustratingly inaccurate. Are there people that do that? Yes. And they're not always LGBTQ people either, because I've known straight cis people who've made their identity based on their sexual activities. I've got straight friends, and I've gone into their houses, their rooms, and seen pictures of naked women all over the place. Posters, calendars, cards, books, magazines, sex toys, condoms, sometimes used, which is gross. Even worse, I've seen them have these things out in front of their kids. My biological mother actually had to fight to get custody of my half-siblings whose father had porn magazines all over the floor, along with used condoms. What the hell? I knew a female friend of mine that had sex with her boyfriend right in front of her boyfriend's kid and knew it. They did it deliberately. They fucked right in front of him, right in front of the kid. I would consider this insanely inappropriate, and I can't believe my biological mother had to fight for custody given the circumstances. That was straight people doing that. Does that mean I think all straight people do that? Absolutely not. That's ridiculous. And I don't make gross overgeneralizations about people. I just think those particular individuals were not good parents. We are talking about equality on LGBTQIA plus matters. And the fact is, a bunch of straight people freak out if their of their kids, if they're kids, just see two dudes or two women kiss or hold hands. A ton of them keep saying crap like, that's sexualizing kids, or that's indoctrination. In reality, the kids probably don't know what the hell all the straight parents are freaking out about. They don't know the stuff we as adults do. They're kids. My husband and I have been around our straight friends' kids. They have seen us hold hands, kiss, feed each other, and hold each other. Their minds are not going to the same place all these adult minds are going, in the gutter. They know we are both men, and all the typos from goddamn nerve damage. I just try to type it out as quickly as I can and get it done and over with because it's fucking painful. They know we are both men. They know we are gay. They do not know and don't need to know what we do in private. So no, we don't have equality. When a teacher can say, I have a husband, but a man can't say, I have a husband. So teacher's female. Without a bunch of straight people freaking out about what we do in private, acting like you think your kids are going to know anything about that. They don't. By the way, they don't. I've been told as much not to tell kids my husband is my husband because, quote unquote, this is literally something that has been said to me, that's political. How is that political? That's not political. It's just saying we're a couple like your mom and dad are. Trans and queer people can't do this either. When you have a situation where they can tell something's up, like how come last year you were Mr. Bracket when my sister was in this grade, and now this year you're Miss Bracket. They can't say anything in this instance without people throwing a fucking fit. They can't even say, well, because I'm what you call a trans woman. What that means is I am a woman that was born into a man's body. They can't even say that. They can do absolutely nothing and just hope the question stops. That's where we're at. That's literally where trans people are at. Fucking horrible. At the very least, equality would be being able to tell people that LGBTQIA plus people exist and that we as an individual are one. We can't even do that, though. It's like we are supposed to be closet married or something. Like we're supposed to tell kids, oh yeah, we're just really good friends, but you call us both dads if you want, because both our wives left us to take care of you, but we can be our own family. Some weird kind of, this is not based off a true story. It's just some kind of weird hypothetical, like based off of these people who hate us for some reason, because so many straight people feel some type of way about telling the truth. We are both your dad because your fathers are married, so both of us are your parents. We are both your dad, and we'll explain the rest to you when you get a little older. I'm sure you could explain some things like, well, your mom decided it was okay to carry you in her belly for us because we can't, or something like that. The way things are, yeah, we can get married, but you still don't want us to tell anyone. And you still want us to stay in the closet like no one is ever going to figure that out. No, The LGBTQIA plus isn't advocating for special places or being a cult. We are still trying to get the equality we haven't gotten yet. Saying or asking questions like this is a way to twist that peaceful fight for equality and hopefully one day acceptance and not just tolerance, making gross overgeneralizations, negative stereotypes, baseless accusations, pushing us out of spaces, especially public ones, assuming the worst out of anyone who is LGBTQIA+, trying to create self-fulfilling prophecies by worrying and raging about bad things that haven't even happened yet, so that when they do, you can blame an entire group of people instead of the individuals that actually did it. Making a post like this, then probably wondering why someone would respond the way I have, because you fail to see the irony of holding a position that ostracizes LGBTQIA plus people. Like we are just supposed to lay down like a doormat and let you walk all over our backs. No, this post is an exact living example that we don't have equality, and why we keep asking for it, because we're not treated equally. We are held to a higher standard than everyone else. We are not allowed to tell our children who we are. We are not allowed to walk down the street as who we are. We are not allowed to say, I'm in love with another man or woman. Not allowed to say they're queer or trans. Not allowed to find raise within our own community, sign documents and permits to hold a pride event for all those who have fought and died. For freedoms, we have won, like Independence Day. Not allowed to teach our history, not allowed to say we exist, not allowed to use the restroom, not allowed to dress how we want, not allowed to have individual self-expression, not allowed to have kids of our own and families, not allowed to have our own communities without being accused of being a cult, because we want somewhere where we don't have to fear being harassed, abused, violated, and threatened. Not allowed within your presence, as you've made that clear. Not allowed to be teachers or public figures. Not allowed to tell our stories. If we were, maybe you'd find out we also love, have a sense of romance and connection in our relationships. Not allowed to feed each other at nice restaurants, like all the straight people do. Not allowed to do so many things you straight people take for granted and have no idea how that would make you feel if it was all taken away and you had to walk in our shoes. Not allowed to speak up about our lack of equality in the face of posts like this. Not allowed to want to defend our rights or allowed to be angry when they are threatened or taken away. Not allowed to be ourselves, as it would seem we are barely allowed to still even be out of the closet. Is that equality? So, this is a nice little post that I had. That was not the post I think that had a huge amount of traction. That was relationship advice in the gay community. But I had screenshotted this because I wanted to make a video about it. I think it's important. And I think I made pretty good arguments. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. It's not like I'm a big channel anyway, but if you tend to be one of these right-wingers, it's like, no, trans people shouldn't be in the bathroom. Boo, drag queen storytime hour. Think about this. Think about it. Your minds are the ones going in the gutter. You're talking about fucking kids. They don't know what the hell you're talking about. They don't know why you're freaking out. All right, this is 44 minutes long. So like, share, subscribe, comment, or don't, whatever. I'm out. Peace. Oh, and punk rock and goths undead. Yeah, whatever. Bye.